What's up, guys? I just wanted to talk about my experience owning my RX8. This is a car I never really got on camera. I have a couple Instagram photos of it. This is 4 years ago, well before I restarted my YouTube channel. But I just wanted to briefly talk about it for a couple reasons. I've just been thinking about it a lot, actually. Um, I love rotaries. That's actually a reason why my YouTube name is RX Isaac. It used to be something else. It was Knight's Garage before, and then someone else had the name, and I was like always saying, oh, I'll change it. And then I owned the RX8. I had already loved RX7s before that, and so I was like, this is going to be my name. I really love rotaries. I haven't owned a rotary since then, but yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about the RX8 I used to own. So I had an '04 RX8. I picked it up, $200, no, less than that maybe. Didn't run, didn't drive, and towed it home, worked on it. Engine was flooded, needed a fuel pump, got all that stuff done. I think Brian took like 2 hours deflooding the engine and swapped a new fuel pump in, fresh fuel, and I daily drove it. It had literally that following couple of days, I took a 2 hour trip out west side Florida to pick up some tires. And it was a fun car. It's probably the most fun car I'd ever owned. Besides the Miata, probably the slowest, but definitely the most fun because of how high you can rev the engines. You can beat the piss out of a rotary and it doesn't care. Like I would redline that thing. I would put it in neutral and just smack limiter all day. I didn't care. Car didn't care. It was awesome. So I just want to talk about it a little bit. So going into owning that car, I eventually, yes, I wanted to learn how to slide. This is right around the time I started hanging out with Brian more, and so he was kind of teaching me a little bit. And what I noticed at first is how fast you can get in first gear compared to like other cars. So like the RX8, you can go pretty fast in first gear before you need to change because you have so many RPMs. So before you hit redline, which redline is like, you should shift. You can't go any further. And then you're limited by gear. RX8, you can go pretty fast. So what I noticed is the gap between first gear and second gear is really weird, and you have to be going really fast. At least for me, a newbie, into drifting, to put it in second gear. I tried to put it in second gear once. I immediately straightened out the car because I regained all my traction. And so sliding in first gear was fine. Car was stupid easy to control. One thing I noticed about the RX-8, it's got 50-50 weight distribution. So like, it's not like you feel the back pulling too much, the front pulling too much. It's very floaty. It feels, but very controlled. The suspension is so stiff. That's a car that if you wanted to slide, and this is kind of, maybe some people would say it's a disadvantage, like trying to slide that car is almost hard because it wants to stay planted, even on like relatively small tires. I ran Cobras on the back of it. I don't remember the size. And, 45-degree turn, and it just stayed glued to the road. I tried. It does not want to, spin out. It's great stability control. So like as a track car, the RX-8 is very good. As a drift car, also can be good. You just gotta take the traction control off, and you gotta give her the beans, is what I've noticed. You really gotta lay into the throttle. RX8 to like really get somewhere with it because for one, all the power, you don't have access to all of the RX8's power until you get past, I think it's a little over 7,000 RPMs. So you don't actually you're not actually accessing the full 270, 80 horsepower and the what is it, like 220, 230 foot-pounds of torque that the RX8 has to offer. You don't even get access to that unless you're going above that 7,000 RPM threshold. So as a new driver, I'm like, I don't want to redline it. That's bad for cars. And what I quickly realized is RX8s just don't care. I check the oil maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, topped it off just a little bit, not even a full quart, like a quart bottle you use like that much after maybe 2 weeks of driving hard. And if you didn't drive hard, it wouldn't eat that much oil, so it's fine if you didn't do any of that. But I drove the piss out of that car. I redlined it every day, which I later realized you're supposed to do. RX8s, the rotary engine, they have carbon buildup problems, and so you gotta redline them actually quite frequently to blow all that carbon out. And if you don't, you get that stickiness around the apex seals, and that's how you get engine failure, premature engine failure, and all that stuff. So that's why I like the RX8. It's a slow car, don't get me wrong, but it's a car you can beat the piss out of, and you don't gotta really worry about it. I don't know of any other motors that you can do that with. I mean, obviously they say, oh, LS you can, 2J you can, the Honda K series, you can redline those all day. Rotary you really can though, that's the experience I had with it. So, drifting the rotary, drifting the RX8. I know the RX7s I think have a little more torque, so that might be a little easier. I've never slid an RX7, no experience with those rotaries. But the Renesis motor that the RX8 has, I think is great. It's just gearing's a little weird. You're gonna have to get used to that, and it's loud. So if you're doing street sliding or something like that, I wouldn't completely delete the cats and the mufflers and all that stuff, because it's cool because you can shoot flames and you don't need a tune or anything like that. But it sucks because people can hear you from 12 miles away. So yeah, it's like I guess VQ's gonna have that issue too. But the RX8, it's so loud. It's crazy loud. I totally get one though, again, and try to actually learn on it and modify it properly, buy actual coilovers, and just really try to get comfortable sliding second gear. That's one thing I feel like a lot of you guys, if you ever get an RX8 and you want to learn second gear, I feel like it's going to be a little hard to get comfortable with. Once the wheels are already spinning though, as long as when you shift you continue to have a loss of traction, that's fine. I think you'll be fine. My problem was every single time I shifted to second gear, it was just like, oh, I'm going to straighten out, and then I would be like, whoa, off the gas. So that was my experience with the RX8. I've just been kind of thinking about past cars I've owned. I've owned a lot of cars that I could have potentially been sliding instead of working on this 240, which, as you all know, I'm working on this thing for like 3 years. Sucks not being able to slide. So like I haven't stopped thinking about other cars I could have either not gotten rid of or could get again, to get back out there sliding again, going to those drift events and stuff like that. RX8 was the first one I thought of. So I might do some videos, rundown of all the old cars I used to own, cars I like and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little about the RX8 just because there's a lot of backstory to it involved on my channel. Like, rotaries are my favorite engine, definitely by far. So, yeah.